Hello there, folks. How are we getting on? Hope you're all well. Trust everything's going good for you. As I said before, hope all your endeavours are going well. And everything is rosy in the garden, as the saying goes. So yeah, now I'm here with a bit of a favourite of mine, Balvenie. Balvenie, said it before, it was the first proper quality spirit that I ever got, that I thought, hang on, there's more to this than just sitting and getting drunk on it. Sitting drinking whiskey and or red wine or whatever it was. You always sort of sit and go, well, is that, I like this, don't like that, whatever. I mean, that's just a natural thing. But to actually turn around and say to yourself, there's more to this, I'd like to investigate this a little bit more and get into more and more things about it and find out more about it. And Balvenie was really the first one to do that. I got bought it as a birthday present. So yeah, I have a bit of a fondness for this spirit, if I'm honest. So this is slightly different. This is the Balvenie, the week of peat. So there's a lot of blurb in the back of this. Before I take the bottle out, I'll give you a bit of the blurb. Bear with me, because it's tiny wee writing. Now, the story begins with the distillery manager Ian Miller's eagle eye spotting a week's gap in the distillery schedule. Eager to experiment with the Balvenie profile using what he had learnt from a recent trip to Islay, not Islay, in case you're a very poor tour guide. He ordered a batch of Speyside peat for the kiln and built a peat burner on site for, extra peatiness. Now it goes on. No one on Speyside was doing it like this when we started, essentially given the maltings is a big tool for experimentation. You can really work with it. So on our return, we started trial a few different approaches, one change at a time, so fully blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we'll go on. So it mentions here, we added a peat burner on the side of the kiln. Trialing the burner in the early days allowed us to get levels similar to Lefroy and Ardbeg of 30 parts per million phenols. Clearly, the more we trialled, the greater our confidence in peating our own malted barley. So yeah, anyway, we'll get the bottle out. We'll get one poured because it needs a little bit in time in glass. So there's lots and lots of information on this. You get a little QR code to tell you the Balvenie stories. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Don't be telling anybody, but I'll hold the QR code up to the screen, and then anyone who wishes can scan it and have a little listen to the things themselves. So pause, scan, and on you go. Hopefully that works for you. But it tells you the story of the whole thing and what they're doing and what they're, all that kind of stuff. Now it's 48.3%, sorry. And it's really it's a slight move away from Balvenie sort of traditional stuff. Take them off. Boom. Lots of peat. Fire and brimstone coming at you. And I mean, really coming at you. High ABV, high peat content. All you're getting really is that lovely peat smoke. Slightly sulphurous note, slightly tarry resin. Almost like burning hay. This is that's what it's set out to do. It stays quite obviously on the front of the box, on the front of the tin, on the front of all of this. This is what we want to do. Boom. And they've succeeded. Wood notes, wood, burning wood. This is what it's all you're getting from this. Now, boom. Right up front, big notes, just hitting. But I guess if you don't like peated whiskies, stay the hell away from this. This is really a big statement, something really straight out of the blocks. You're getting all of those peat notes, all of those wood fires, charring, like leftover embers in the morning when you get up in an old house. It just smells, it tastes like reading out a fire in the morning. We don't do that. Most people don't do this anymore. You just flick a switch and on comes the gas or the oil or whatever. But do you remember when you used to have to read out a fire in the morning and you're pulling out and you're grating, you're shaking the grate and the ashes all coming down and you're getting that and there's still the embers and you're still getting some smoke and peat. Where we're from, we used to burn peat all the time. It was dead cheap. We used to buy it for next to nothing, and we could heat the houses. Now everybody just flicks on a switch. Much handier, much cleaner, but nowhere near the same sensory experience. Honestly, it's got peat notes, and it's a really complex peat. And anyone who has ever cut peat, there's lots of different types and layers to it. It's not like coal or burning anything else. Because it's as natural a product as a cask, and you can have loads of different types of wood in the cask, and within all those different types of woods, you've all these different sort of variations. White oak, European oak, Hungarian oak. And it just goes on and on and on. Mizunara cask. All of this. They're all oak. They're all slightly different, and peat from various areas has different makeups, different vegetation has made it, and depending on how far down you cut, really depends on how deep it goes. It's whatever peat they have used, and we got our peat from northeast Speyside village of Sligo. I helped muck in with the guys and shuffling in the extra heavy peat into the kiln with big shovels. This is big heavy peat, but it's not almost at the lignite stage, which some peats can be. They're very heavy and a lot more sulphurous and a lot more sharp, bitter notes. This has got sulphur points to it because it's quite heavy, but it's not and it's sort of in that transitional stage from the very light peats that sometimes you get, which you would probably get more at the top where the sphagnum moss and stuff used to be, then all the way down. This is somewhere in between some of the different elements of peat that you get, and it really does sit quite well. Non-chill filtered. I would imagine there's probably not any colouring in that either. It's 14-year-old. But it's really quite woody, quite hay smoke Uh, if you've ever seen a hay bale burn, hay bales don't really burn that well. They just sit and smoulder, and they just get smokier and smoke. You know, they sit and smoulder. They don't actually burn, and that's kind of what this is like. There's some peaty notes to it, but it's not lifting itself too much. Now on the tongue, it's kind of, you know what it's like? It's like someone has set fire to Winnie the Pooh's house. It's kind of something like that. Winnie the Pooh lived in a little cottage, and it's like someone, you know, it's like someone's burning down a thatched cottage. That's kind of what this reminds me on. And someone who's got a stash of who keeps bees. It's kind of all of those. It's honeyed, straw bale, thatched roof, fire, peat fire. Yeah. The finish doesn't go an awful lot all over the place. It doesn't really vary huge amount from what's on the tongue. Possibly a little bit more sort of tropical fruits on the finish than you get in the palate, but it's really quite peat forward the whole way, and they've set out to do that. That's what they've achieved. Do you prefer it more to say the triple wood Balvenie? Not really. It's quite pleasant, quite nice, but I kind of like the achievement. I kind of like the ambition to do what they were doing, but I prefer Balvenie the way it was. I think there's other people that do this a little bit better than this is, and that's the guys over in Isla. This is a different style. It's a different peat, and it's a different taste. So, but you can't have peated whiskies without necessarily comparing them to Isla. It's just what you do. And if I'm honest, it's this wouldn't be my favourite, but Balvenie do lots and lots and lots of really good stuff, and they, why not experiment? Why not take that? You might like this. If you like peated whiskies, this might be one that you would really, really, really like. Not really for me. Very good quality. Very, very well produced. All the bump telling you all the story, giving you QR codes, go and check stuff out. All high ABV, non-chill filtered. All of this. We like all of this, but I prefer the ordinary incarnations of Balvenie. My personal taste. There you go. So if I have to give it a mark, we'll probably give it a good 7.5 out of 10. But yeah, pleasant enough in its own way, but in competition with other stuff. And if you're a fan of Balvenie, you probably not like it that much. If you're a fan of Isla whiskies, you'll probably prefer it than an ordinary Balvenie. So it sort of kind of juggles in between. Pleasant enough, not spectacular, not as good as their ordinary range of stuff. So there you go. Do take care of yourself. Do join me and Justin on a Saturday night on Irish Whiskey Review. Get us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are on Spotify, iTunes, all of that kind of stuff. We're all over the place in more ways than one. So anyway, do take care of yourselves, stay safe, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.